Welcome, entrepreneur. This is Mark Newsom, Mr. Marketing, and welcome to this special presentation entitled How to Start from Scratch and Build a List of 1,000 Highly Targeted Leads in the Next 90 Days or Less. That's correct. Let's suppose that right now you're just starting out and you keep hearing this term, the money's in the list. Well, it's true. But how do you go about, as let's say not the most marketing savvy person, start literally from scratch and build a list of highly targeted, semi-qualified leads of 1,000 prospects in the next 90 days or less? That's what you're going to discover in this presentation. Now, even if you're starting out with very little money and you're simply not that good a marketer yet, this particular strategy and tactic is perfect for you, entrepreneur. Perfect. And you'll see why in just a second. So here's a picture of the Miami Heat, who recently won the NBA championship. And in case it's not clear, the gentleman right there in the middle, that's King James himself, LeBron James, and it appears to be Dwayne Wade. Not really sure, but that appears to be Dwayne Wade directly to his right. And they're in a club celebrating right after they won the NBA championship. As in, you can see all the fans are around and everybody's excited and they're partying, they're having a great time. Now here's the question that you might be wondering. What, if anything, do the recent NBA champions and this particular advertisement about getting access to over 12,000 shed plans and woodworking projects in your cash-starved, struggling small business, what, if anything, do those three things have in common? Well, stick around and you're going to find out. So, here's the point. This is the way the typical cash-starved, struggling small business owner attempts to market their business, product, or service. And it has a lot to do with that last slide you just saw. And it also explains why a staggering 88% of the small business owners and service providers that attempt to market their business, product, or service this way, they're going to fail within the first 5 years or less. A statistical fact. And here's the reason why. Let's go back to this example. Here's what the typical small business owner does. In this particular case, here's the Miami Heat hanging out in a local club in Miami. And there was an article that was just published about this that said that the owner of this particular club, the tab came up to, are you ready for this? A whopping $100,000. So hopefully that business owner grossed more than $100,000, because that's what it costs him or her or whoever they are, the owners, to entertain the Heat and everything that went along with it, their entourage and everything else. But here's the point. Let's say you're hosting an event, and it doesn't have to be that the Miami Heat or some sports team is going to be hanging out at your particular establishment, but the point is you're giving an event. Typically it's a sales event, correct? And you're going to use some type of paid advertisement. And that's what this gentleman is doing here. Who knows, he's up on a rooftop somewhere or something, right? And you're advertising. And maybe you do local radio, local television, you run some ads, late night cable, you got some ads in the newspaper, billboard, whatever it is you do, whatever your poison is. And here's the other thing you're probably doing. You're probably active in social media in some way, right? You got Twitter, you got Facebook, whatever you got going. Well, this is what a lot of small business owners do, and you should be doing it. It makes perfect sense. But here's the point, and this is why a lot of small business owners have trouble. Once the event ends, in other words, once your sale is over, or once all the Miami Heat finally left the club and they're not signing autographs anymore and it's all over with, what does the typical small business owner or service provider do? That's right. They have to start marketing and promoting their business, product, or service all over again. In other words, you're starting once again from scratch. Now, you may say, well, yeah, but Mark, isn't that normal? Well, it may be for the not so savvy, but savvy entrepreneurs know that that's a big no-no, and here's why. First of all, it's incredibly time-consuming, and it's flat-out expensive. Ladies and gentlemen, you may not realize it, but typically, the average small business owner and or service provider, they spend about 500% more in retail costs just to create that very first customer or client. Did you realize that? So what that means is, just think of just think of spending $500 on a customer, a first-time customer who may only spend $50. You can see the problem right there. And this is why most small businesses go out of business. Think of it another way, though. Read this particular sentence right here and think of this. Let's suppose you were standing in an extremely long line waiting to see a customer service rep for, say, the last 2.5 hours. Like, let's say you're in a Target. We'll just use them for example. And it's Christmas time, so that's the reason why the store is incredibly crowded, and all the cashiers they're busy ringing out customers, and customer service is no exception. There are a ton of people standing in line, and you suddenly find the urge you have to go to the bathroom. Now, what the average person would do is tap the person in front of them and say, hey, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom. Can you please let the people know that come in line behind me that this place is actually being saved and that I went to the bathroom? And 99.9% of the time, the people will accommodate you. But here's the point. Let's suppose you didn't do that. Let's just suppose you went to the bathroom. When you came out, there's now 75 people from that point where you were in line to where you are now. Now, does it make sense for you to start again at the end of the line? Now, of course, you're thinking, yeah, Mark, I get your point, but what, if anything, does that have to do with me marketing my business successfully on or offline? If that's your train of thought, you're in exactly the right place. Because here's what it means. And this is how a struggling small business owner and or service provider can build a list of highly targeted leads of 1,000 people or more, by the way, and let's stress that, or more, in the next 90 days or less, starting from scratch, without entrepreneur spending tons of money. Here's what this means. You see this advertisement here? Get access to over 12,000 shed plans and woodworking projects. Let's pretend that instead of this being an offer on wood sheds, and I'm using wood sheds here as an example that's really abstract, so you don't think that this only applies to people such as myself that are in the information marketing service industry. This can apply to any business, product, or service. Any business, product, or service. You just have to use a little creativity to adjust and modify it to make it work specifically for yours. But the concept is being done by savvy entrepreneurs all the time, on and offline. But here's the point. Let's go back to the example of the Miami Heat going to that particular club. What if that business owner did this? What if they advertise free drawing? Come hang out tonight with the Miami Heat and enter a free drawing to win 5 free steak dinners valued at X, whatever the steak dinner is at, and free drinks up to $50 each visit for your next 5 visits. And then they put a value on it and say, I don't know, $200 value. Now you see the point? As the people come into the club, they have a chance to enter this free drawing. Now what's happening here? First of all, you're leveraging this event because you got the Miami Heat coming in. But let's stop right here so you don't lose the main focus. It has nothing to do with the fact that the Miami Heat specifically were coming to this club. What I'm saying is, since they were doing this anyway, this is a way for them to have leveraged that event, and it's the same for you leveraging an event. You're giving a sales event. Let's say a furniture store was doing this, and they say, come in and enter a free drawing to win a $5,000 bedroom and dinette set. Now, do you see how this is an incentive for every person that comes to that sales event to enter that free drawing to win that? I mean, if they're coming to a furniture store, there's probably a good chance they at some point want to buy some furniture, right? So here's the point. They're now collecting the name and address. They're building a database. Now, here's how you put that concept on steroids. Your ad would also say the top 3 people who bring the most first-time customers over 18 with them. Your name goes into the drawing an additional time. So in other words, what are you trying to incentivize people to do? That's right, bring people with them. And the first 3 people to do that, their names are going to go into a drawing. And if you bring at least one other person with you, they'll give you a free lunch valued at $15. So the point is, you're incentivizing these people to bring people with you, or with them, pardon me. Well, it's the same with this Miami Heat event, because that store owner, that bar owner could tweet this, they could paste it on Facebook, and which means guaranteed, had they have done that, other people would have put it on their Facebook page, and other people would have tweeted about it. So they would have had this. They're already going to have a barrage of people, because who doesn't want to come hang out with the champions and King James and D Wade and Chris Bosh and all these other people? So they got celebs coming there. But the point is, when this event is over, it's a one-time event, you'd still have those names. Now, let's use a restaurant, because restaurants are a really fabulous way to leverage your audience. Let's show you how a restaurant would do this. Right in the lobby, they would have a 65-inch state-of-the-art flat screen television, and they would say, enter free drawing, one guaranteed winner every 30 days. And then when the waiters and waitresses come to your table, they make it known. Now catch this: for every order over $100 or X, you'd have to test. You don't want to go too high, but let's just say if it's a semi-upscale restaurant, every order over $100, your name automatically goes into the drawing an extra time. So what do you think will happen? If the average person has a bill of $90 or $92 or $88, that's right, they'll probably bump up to $100 for a chance to win that flat screen. Now, you could take this a ton other ways further, but just to keep things really, really simple so you don't get too overwhelmed, because that's the other problem that happens a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen. You go to these marketing workshops, or you listen in on a webinar or a teleseminar, and you get so many viable ideas that you get on idea overload and you don't do anything. So I don't want to do that, but at the same time, I want to spark enough of your creative juices that you realize what you're sitting on here is a potential gold mine. Now let's look at this from an entirely different point of view, using that restaurant again. What if you were the appliance center? Couldn't you go around to 4 or 5 or X number of these local mom and pop restaurants and set this arrangement up where you give away a flat screen television over here, entertainment system over there? In other words, look at this huge database of people that you'd be building. You're only going to have one guaranteed winner every month. So let's say the first month 800 people sign up for this thing. And that, I'm saying 800 could be spread out over 4 restaurants. It could be 1 restaurant. It doesn't matter. Here's the point. You're going to choose one. You let the owner choose one grand prize winner, and they announce it on their Facebook page, tweet about it, whatever. What about the other 99%? You send them, let's say in this case, the appliance center, you send them a postcard that says, dear valued customer of such and such restaurant, you recently entered a free drawing to win this 65-inch television or entertainment center, whatever the grand prize was. Unfortunately, you didn't win. However, you have won a valuable second prize. You can get 20% off your first purchase or your first 5 purchases if you're trying to build long-term repeat customers. But you must come into the store by a certain date. Do you not know X percentage of those people are going to take you up on that offer? You better believe they will. So hopefully you can see where we're going here and how you can easily leverage and build a list of 1,000 highly targeted leads in the next 90 days or less. Now that's a picture of your cash-starved, struggling small business. And the reason why that lady is smiling is because she took Mr. Marketing's advice, and she's happy now. Now actually that picture comes off Google here. Now here's the point. You should be active on social media, which I'm sure you are, but you got to start leveraging it. And stop tweeting about what you had for breakfast and start tweeting out that you got a free drawing going. And here's the other thing. You hook social media with your free drawing, and just like this attractive young lady here in this picture, you'll start to become a much more successful entrepreneur because of 2 reasons. Number 1, you'll have your own list. Number 2, you can follow up with that list indefinitely. Number 3, you can joint venture that list. In fact, just to blow this thing out, let's suppose you had done this. Let's go back to the furniture store for just a second so you can see this. Let's suppose that furniture store started doing this. Once a month, they're going to give away a dinette set. And actually what they could do is survey their customers and find out what are the top 3 things, if they had a chance to win in a free drawing, they would like, and boom, there you go. Now you know what to promote to these people because they've told you this is what they're interested in. This is savvy marketing. But here's the point. Let's go back. Let's suppose this furniture store did this, say, for 6 months. And now they have a database of 8,500 people. Do you know there are other entrepreneurs out there that would be glad to access that list for a fee? It could be a one-time fee. It could be a monthly fee. So you got that going. You got the fact that you're following up with this list yourself. You got the fact that you can also send a broadcast email to these people. And if you're not familiar with that, it just means, you know how when you sign up for somebody's list, like those of you who join my list, you join a list, and then what happens is you start getting these pre-written what they call autoresponder messages. Now, a broadcast email means this isn't part of your original list or your pre-written message. You're just going to craft it that particular day, and then you can either decide to send it out immediately or you can schedule it. But here's the point. Let's suppose you had some closeout furniture. You got 8,500 people on this list. You could say special 2-day only closeout sale. Send them a broadcast email and say the first 50 people in the door, you get 25% off anything you purchase. No minimum. You'll probably get a traffic jam. Now obviously all 8,500 people can't make it. But the point is they'll start tweeting, they'll start Facebooking, and they will come to your place of establishment. And then you could also do some really cool things, like since you know this event is going to make a lot of money, you could give the first 20 people in the door a $100 gas coupon. Now what do you think will happen if they got a $100 gas coupon, irregardless of what they spent? You think these people aren't going to jump on their cell phones and tweet and do all this stuff? Of course they will. Which means the next time you send out a broadcast email, guess what? You would have even more people. Well, entrepreneur, hopefully you can see the benefits of using a free drawing to build a list on or offline. It does not matter how you market your business, product, or service. You start building that list and you start systematically and strategically following up. You don't have to advertise as much, and the money you save on advertising you put back into your business, product, or service by giving bonuses, as we just mentioned in this particular presentation. So what you really should do from this point is you should go back and listen to this presentation again, and then listen to it again. And when you finally got this concept down so that you see the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different layers of potential profit in this thing, you need to get started. Okay? It's that simple. This is Mr. Marketing. We'll see you again on the Marketing Minute.